In this video, we will talk about class binding and style property binding in Angular. For our example, we will use one input field and one checkbox, which we will use to disable or enable our input field. We can see in browser this. If we check this checkbox, our input will be disabled, and if we uncheck this checkbox, this input will be enabled. Our goal will be to change CSS for this input field based on this value in checkbox and go in editor. We will introduce class binding here, and syntax is square brackets, class dot, and class name in our case will be disabled input. Okay, and on right side we set is disabled input property to this class binding. And how this class binding works: if value of this property is true, this class disabled input will be added to input. Otherwise, if this property value is false, class will not be set. And to test does this work, we will add this class disabled input here in app CSS. We will paste here, and we will define here properties for this class. If input is disabled, we want background color to be silver, and also border 1 pixel solid silver. Save, and let's check how this looks in browser. If we disabled input, we can see our class will be applied, and if we uncheck this checkbox, our class will not be applied on input, and that means that our class binding works properly. In this video, we will also talk about style property binding. To demonstrate how it works, we will use this checkbox here, and we want to make this checkbox background color also silver when input is disabled, as it is here. And we will do that with style property binding. Go in editor. Syntax is next. Square brackets, style. Here we have dot. And here we need to write CSS property, which we want to be applied on this checkbox. It will be accent color. In our case, this property will change background color for checkbox, and on the right side we will have property which value we want to assign to this property. That will be, for example, checkbox background color. Okay, this may be interesting thing that we cannot on checkbox use simply background color to change background, and we need to use this accent color, and you can remember that. Okay, let's define this property in our code. Here we will add public, it will be string, and default value will be transparent. Okay, save. And here, when is disabled input is true. we will set this property to silver. Okay, save. Otherwise, if this property is falsy, this property will be again transparent. Okay, save. Let's check this in browser. If we disable input, our background color for checkbox will be silver also. And if we uncheck, it will be transparent, and this looks fine. At the end of this video, I want to show you something useful. When you work with HTML and CSS and JS, generally if it is web development, you need to know to use developer tools in browser. To open developer tools, we will right-click on page and click inspect. And for our video, this inspector tab here is most important part. And here we can inspect whole our page, whole HTML structure, all elements that are on screen you can find here. We have body here, and inside we have app root component, and inside something that is interesting for us, that is input field, this text and our checkbox. And pay attention on this. Here we can see on our checkbox style attribute and current value for this attribute. If input is disabled, this style attribute will have accent color silver, and if we unchecked this checkbox, this value will be transparent. And also here for input field, we can see how class attribute is changing. If input is disabled, class will be applied here. Otherwise, there is no class. So I recommend you to use this inspector always to check what is happening under hood with your elements. That will be everything for this video. I hope you learned something new. Please subscribe, like, and see you in the next video.